Never thought I'd find someone like you. Thought I'd be searching for the rest of my life. Wow. It's like a dream come true. Shining bright, I saw your face and you saw mine, and at this moment I knew it'd be alright. When I met you, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was at the moment I knew that I'd been dealt a deck of life that was fair, but just in the nick of time.
Hello everyone, my name is Verity Arbusto, and this is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on Facebook and on YouTube, and the Akashic Records and beyond. Excuse me. And I'm going to talk today, this is part of an ongoing series about the geomagnetic pole reversal, or pole switch, pole flip, as I call it in this case. And so we're at part 7 in this series. And so what I'm going to do before I go on further with this particular video, and I'm showing the description of it. This is from Suspicious Observer before I continue. So before watching this video, I want to summarize where we're at, because this is for the purpose of educational use only in the course of doing this lesson. So let me summarize where we're at. So in the first lesson, video, we went through the INGV website that showed a basic definition of the pole reversal, and they basically said it's obviously basing their version on the declassified Charles Hapgood version. Their version said there's no periodicy of it, it's kind of random, and it happens, the switch itself happens over the course of 5,000 years. Okay, that's the first one. And then we have the second type that we learned about is an excursion, which is short-lived. That's the poles swap places magnetically for a while, and then they return to where they were. And then the third is the understanding of the pole reversal, which takes much longer. It's a much longer lasting affair. It is understood it takes a while to get there, but when it does hit the tipping point, the end arrives quickly. Okay, now the last one is, the next option is the polar flip, and that's where we're at here. This is where the crust becomes unlocked at the low velocity zone, and they explain this in the video. That's where it's liquefied at the mantle, and in the pole flip, the crust moves, it becomes dislodged, it moves independently over the liquefied body of the inner Earth. Due to the weight of the ice cap, the Greenland plays a big part in this, it flips 90 degrees. Okay, and it shows you this. All right, and so this is where we're at in the narrative. We introduced the video, the subseries, The Next End of the World, C.I.A. classified, which is a net length of 26 minutes in duration. And so I've already used up more than half of this particular video here. So I'm going to go on and explain, and not explain anymore. I'm just going to play the video.
with the rumble so low as to be inaudible, growing, throbbing, then fuming into a thundering roar. The earthquake starts. Only it's not like any earthquake in recorded history. In California, the mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. With the force of 1,000 armies, the wind attacks, ripping, shredding everything in its supersonic bombardment. The unbelievable mountain of Pacific seawater follows the wind eastward, burying Los Angeles and San Francisco as if they were but grains of sand. Nothing, but nothing stops the relentless, overwhelming onslaught of wind and ocean. Across the continent, the 1,000-mile-per-hour wind wreaks its unholy vengeance. Everywhere, mercilessly, unceasingly, every living thing is ripped to shreds while being blown across the countryside, and the earthquake leaves no place untouched. In many places, the Earth's molten sublayer breaks through and spreads a sea of white-hot liquid fire to add to the Holocaust. Within 3 hours, the fantastic wall of water moves across the continent, burying the wind-ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water coast to coast. In a fraction of a day, all vestiges of civilization are gone. The great cities of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York are nothing but legends. Barely a stone is left where millions walked just a few hours before. A few lucky ones who managed to find shelter from the screaming wind on the lee side of Pikes Peak watch the sea of molten fire break through the quaking valleys below. The raging waters follow, piling higher and higher, steaming over the molten earth fire and rising almost to their feet. Only at great mountains such as this can one withstand the cataclysmic onslaught. North America is not alone in her death throes. Central America suffers the same cannonade, wind, earth fire, and inundation. South America finds the Andes not high enough to stop the cataclysmic violence pounded out by nature in her berserk rage. In less than a day, Ecuador, Peru, and western Brazil are shaken madly by the devastating earthquake, burned by molten earth fire, buried under cubic miles of torrential Pacific seas, and then turned into a frozen hell. Everything freezes. Man, beast, plant, and mud are all rock hard in less than 4 hours. Europe cannot escape the onslaught. The raging Atlantic piles higher and higher upon itself, following the screeching wind eastward. The Alps, Pyrenees, Urals, and Scandinavian mountains are shaken and heaved even higher before the wall of water strikes. Western Africa and the sands of the Sahara vanish in nature's wrath under savage attack by wind and ocean. The area bounded by the Congo, South Africa, and Kenya suffers only severe earthquakes and wind, no inundation. Survivors there marvel at the sun standing still in the sky for nearly half a day. Eastern Siberia and the Orient suffer a strange fate indeed, as though a giant subterranean scythe swept away the Earth's foundations, accompanied by the wind in its screaming symphony of supersonic death and destruction. As the Arctic basin leaves its polar home, Eastern Siberia, Manchuria, China, and Burma are subjected to the same annihilation as South America: wind, earth fire, inundation, and freezing. Jungle animals are shredded to ribbons by the wind, piled into mountains of flesh and bone, and buried under avalanches of seawater and mud. Then comes the terrible paralyzing cold. Not man, nor beast, nor plant, nor earth is left unfrozen in the entire eastern Asian continent, most of which remains below sea level. East of the Urals, in western Siberia, a few lucky people survive the fantastic winds and quakes. Antarctica and Greenland, with their ice caps now rotating around the Earth in the torrid zone, a fury of wind and inundation marches on for 6 days and nights. During the 6th day, the oceans start to settle in their new homes, running off the higher grounds. On the 7th day, the horrendous rampage is over, the Arctic Ice Age is ended, and a new Stone Age begins. The oceans, the great homogenizers, have laid down another deep layer of mud over the existing strata in the Great Plains, as exposed in the Grand Canyon, Painted Desert, and Badlands. The Bay of Bengal Basin, just east of Indonesia, is now at the North Pole. The Pacific Ocean, just west of Peru, is the South Pole. Greenland and Antarctica, now rotating equatorially in the torrid zone, find their ice caps dissolving madly in the tropical heat. Massive walls of water and ice surge towards the ocean, taking everything from mountains to plains in gushing, heaving paths, creating immense seasonal moraines, and in less than 25 years the ice caps are gone, and the oceans are